And we're live. Hello, everybody. This is the Cafe Cast, talking to you about the last couple weeks' worth of episodes. We've been splitting hairs about how to do this from now on, now that Canada decided they don't have to play by the rules in releasing episodes, and then we just kind of decided, who cares, let's just go for it in whatever form and fashion we feel like. So, all right, I'm your host, The Second Opinion, represented by the Rift Cafe logo. And with me here, we have, starting from the top.
Past analysis, I'm starting from the top. Not normal. Another thing that's not normal is that I'm overly positive today.
My God.
Oh my God, it's the apocalypse!
You are the evil past. You're psychopath. You cannot be the real thing.
Also, I graduated today, so I'm happy and I'm tired.
Wait,
Hey, congratulations!
Thanks.
what you graduated about again?
From Virginia Tech, from the university I've been at for the last 5 years.
I meant a career, not the place.
As in, like, what am I going to go into?
Or I don't know. What did you study?
Oh, history and sociology.
Oh,
The psych minor.
neat. Hello, history.
Yep. Hence the name, past analysis.
Although I really
Not bad.
hate sociology.
I get it now!
Damn you, high school.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up. That's a terrible pun. You should feel ashamed, all of you.
Well,
I am the one
Yes.
that makes the puns here.
I made this pun a long time ago in the past.
Screw you.
You've been beaten to the punch.
Anywho,
All
who's next? Not me.
Well,
That'd be kind of odd.
it's me, Vabroni here, shown in the podcast as that weird gator avatar with the Persona 5 theme. Well, for me, I would just like to say I'm here just weirdly enough giving a normal introduction because well, I'm doing like the usual despite this, but
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
all right, I just feel like I just honestly just came back from seeing my father, really, so I didn't really have anything prepared. So no outrageous intro for me this time, gents. Sorry to disappoint you all. I'm sorry.
Wow, so much is changing this week.
Well, unlike you, I always use the same introduction.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My mom just arrived.
Oh, tell her
And the
hi.
same introduction was then just cut
Told you I'm the king. So anyway, where are you guys?
All right. Now it's still Omniviewer's turn to introduce himself.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omniviewer, represented by the bizarre silver crescent symbol against a red background.
Ooh,
We're gonna find out what
spooky.
that is, what that means.
That's for the
No.
original series I'm working on. No spoilers.
Nobody
No
cares.
spoilers.
I hate waiting. But in the meantime,
Oh,
that
now it's
leaves.
my turn?
Now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn. All right.
Now it's your turn.
And you missed it. So anyway, about the
Shut
episode.
up, second. Shut up, Omni. So hello.
Vengeance is sweet.
It always is. So hello, every pony. My name is Private Eye. You might have remembered me from the times Second did not invited me to the other cast because, well, actually, this was actually my fault because now I am unbelievably busy sometimes. Because now the freaking college is only at late noon. But anyway, I'm back here to 2 of the episodes that I want to say. One of them is pretty cute. The other one, I like to call it How Wonder Woman Met Iris West. Oh God, the dubbing references I'm gonna make in this.
Oh my God, are you
Well, that
serious?
is a better title to be
But
fair.
yeah, I am serious.
Oh man.
Okay, you heard it here first, though, folks. You probably remember Private from the cast I did not invite him to attend. Not the one he did attend, mind you, from his non-appearance, is where you know him best from.
Yes, because I am a goddamn ninja. Or rather, I will probably date a ninja one day. But
The
that's
legend
for later.
transcends the man himself.
Indeed.
Okay, but yeah, we're talking about Rock Solid Friendship and Fluttershy Leans In, which, I'll say interesting directions for this season, but, all right, instead of just speculating about them, I say we dive right in and start with everyone's thoughts on Rock Solid Friendship, going in order. So from the
Awesome.
top.
Alrighty. Well, you guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Huh?
So, honestly, Rock Solid Friendship, not going to spoil anything, it is still my favorite episode, even though I've spoiled myself with the, later two, thanks to Canada.
And if I might say something about it, blasphemy! This is the guy that said he doesn't like Starlight Glimmer. You're not... Wait, is the internet right?
Well...
You're not past analysis.
Let him finish.
See, here's the thing. I hated Starlight Glimmer in season 6 because she wasn't being developed, and she was basically she was a character that was terribly what's the word? Reformed, hardly given
True.
any screen time during the season that she ideally should have gotten a lot of screen time. And then in the season 7 premiere, they acted as if they gave her a lot of screen time. However, Rock Solid Friendship, in my eyes, again, like All Bottled In, it gives more to her character. And I actually found the chemistry between her and Maud to be really interesting. It was different. It's not something that we really see in this series. Another thing that I found really, really nice to see for a change is the fact that people actually called Pinky annoying. Like in the beginning of the series, that was something that happened, but then gradually, they got very accustomed to her, and that point never came up. However, I do like that there are characters that are willing to actually say it. Oh my gosh, I loved it when Starlight said, "You basically ruined it."
You ruined it. That was the moment Pinkie Pie knew she had fucked up.
There was that, and honestly, I just thought it was a good episode in terms of developing their characters. I liked how Starlight was, opening up to Maud in a certain way. I thought it was nice. I thought it was adorable. I liked it. Honestly, it was well structured. There's really nothing I can point to that I disliked in it. No, there isn't. I mean, and there were some legitimately funny bits, like the "I like kites" as if it's a bad thing.
It's like a grown man liking My Little Pony.
Society of Kites. It's a secret, and their number one rule is do not talk about Kite Club.
Oh please, kites!
Now I see what you meant with the puns.
Kites aren't
I told
nerd
you.
equivalent.
I love kites.
But anywho, I liked it. I loved it. I mean, I think that it's a great episode. It develops Maud in a way that isn't annoying. I'm
Right.
looking at you, Gift of the Maud Pie. And it does a great job with Starlight Glimmer, who really, really needs it. So I honestly, no complaints here.
Blasphemy!
Good. Well, so far this episode seems to be off to a good start as far as people's good graces are concerned.
We have already made God angry. What else can we do?
Well, we could continue on the Bizarro train with me talking about the flaws for this episode.
My God, how
Well,
dare
well.
you?
Well,
Okay, take it away, Unova.
okay, rock solid friendship. Like, I feel like this episode is going to be a bit distracting because of how people feel like the annoying parts in the episode with Pinkie Pie in it is going to be a huge detractor of what they think would be a great episode. However, I would disprove those claims by just saying, like, even if it was intentional and even if, like, she was written to be, like, annoying and sometimes that would fail, I feel like I wasn't as annoyed with Pinkie in this episode as a lot of people, but I still felt annoyed. And that doesn't detract from her character at all, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't lower her of any stance, like, say, Twilight, in which I found her very annoying and how degrading her character was in certain episodes, like No Second Prances. Because for Pinkie, she was depicted as annoying in some cases, like season 4, in which she got the blunt force of the Brony fandom, who was in a major uproar about how stupid she was being written in the early season, and then controversially during Philly Vanilli. But I feel like that sort of part of Pinkie is brought back here, and we shouldn't dismiss it as like, oh my God, Nick Confalone is writing a horrible Pinkie in this episode. Like, no.
My God, a controversy on My Little Pony? Stop the goddamn press.
I just really feel like Pinkie in this episode was used in the most perfect way possible, like showing that there can be moments in which you can't like a character.
I actually kind of agree with you, but my sort of point, which I think totally like gets rid of this negative aspect of the episode, is the fact that the episode acknowledges it. Like, there are so many instances where Pinkie is just straight up annoying to me, and the show doesn't act like she's annoying. So just having the show act like she was annoying for a change was a welcome.
I'm gonna go on and bet that Pinkie Pie has broken the fourth wall so much with her, whatever the hell she does, that the show is finally catching up to her.
Oh, it's like a snail's pace race with the show. Took them 7 years, but they did it.
Yeah.
They caught up with the pink horse.
Goes on to Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, but to move on to other aspects about this episode, there was something interesting that a reviewer pointed out in one of his recent videos that he hadn't updated in a long time, like Nikki V did. And
Reviewer?
Yeah.
Between the 100,000. Jesus Christ, that must have felt like finding a nail in a haystack.
Apparently,
go ahead, Unova.
But apparently, like when Starlight mentioned about her fascination with kites, he pointed out in her cutie mark, her falling star, if you look it upside down, kind of looks like a kite with streamers or a wind blowing on a diamond shape. So yeah, that was kind of a bit mind-blowing, but also the fact that there was kite supplies in the last Starlight episode of season 6 before the finale. Oh my God. It's like the show's actually taking subtle cues, even from season 6, and actually showing it as like, oh, look, it's a hobby she does. It's not crucial to the plot or anything. It's just another layer to her character, even if it's a small one. It's like, attention to detail.
Character development.
What if that actually is her special talent?
Having character development? I don't think that kind of counts as a talent.
No, I mean the kites.
Like if the kite
That would be interesting if that way, of all things.
Like
the magic, that's good and all, but she's actually an expert kite flyer.
That would be amazing, because one, that would mean that any pony with like somewhat of an insignificant talent could still have a proficiency in another field.
I don't see how that would be useful in any capacity whatsoever.
He's got a point. But yeah, I take that as like akin to how to how Applejack's good at baking, or what else you got?
Pinky.
Or Derpy
Rarity's
and the
good at finding
Bubbles.
gems.
We don't know what that's about.
This is a true statement.
Yeah.
It's almost
Well-
as if a character having more than one layer to it was actually good.
Okay, take 5, Private.
yeah.
I have to say we are desperately underestimating the amount of elites that engage in kites. There is
Yeah, I flew a kite
a
once to the
sufficeable
freaking clouds.
amount of them.
True story.
Starlight Glimmer can get herself some nice cash if she, befriends the right people.
Well, maybe she makes some deals with Marvel, but that would be really hard.
But
And all the
anyway,
jobs
That's a
that never
reference to
seem to
something,
work.
kids.
Like all the jobs that never seem like they carry you that well seem to do fine in Ponyville or in Equestria in general. So I would not be surprised if Starlight could indeed make muchos doing kite flying.
Make what?
Muchos, a lot, a high amount, a significant portion
Not
of.
funny.
What? Okay.
Not funny,
That was
dude.
not a joke. That was just muchos is just used sometimes as a legitimate word.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yes.
America likes to think that it's, I don't know.
Smart.
America likes to think it's a lot of things, but yeah, let's go with smart.
But anyway, getting back to like what I think about rock solid friendship, like Maud Pie in this episode, it was she just became so relatable. Like we finally crack open the hard exterior that is Maud Pie to see that a pony who acknowledges her eccentricity and the fact that she talks to rocks and knows how lonely she is and appreciates the fact that rocks don't ridicule her is a very potent thing to put in like this late into like the show for like one of the newly released characters from season 4. And I'm just like, wow, they're really going off the edge and making more of an effort with this character this season compared to other ones. So then again, season 6 did had a good part with like its 3rd episode.
I'm gonna say that in terms of in terms of rock solid friendship, you could argue. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if this is true, but this episode does raise the question of how much does Pinky actually get Maud? Because at the end of Maud Pie, the first episode Maud was in, Pinky acted as if like she just knew Maud and she knew Maud's like level of expressiveness and like what Maud actually meant by things. But in this episode, it would seem that that's either A, not the case, or B, not always the case.
Well,
Because
you have to remember something is that Pinkie Pie is not with her family right now. Like she's living on her own, far away from them, and she obviously just had those feelings of wanting for at least one part of her home to be with her. So I'll be
That
desperate to try
But I
and.
mean,
Well,
that doesn't really answer my question, because my point is about how in Maud Pie, which she was still living in Ponyville by that point in time, she is able to know, or at least think she knows, what Maud really means. Whereas in this episode, she clearly doesn't.
I think I have an answer.
Okay, yeah.
Pinky has a very specific goal in this episode. In Rock Solid Friendship, she wants Maud there, and she is so laser focused on that she's basically getting distracted by everything else. I think we've all had a moment at one point where we want so desperately for a particular family member to do a particular thing that we miss something that we should know, but wind up missing it anyway, and thus leading to more problems than solutions. That's my take.
I mean, if I
I
had
think
to
that's
think
a pretty good take.
Well, my take of this would actually be like she knows the basics about Maud's expressiveness. It's just that in this episode, she was being dug even deeper, and she didn't know like how lonely she was. Like, I think that's the point in which Pinky didn't know that much about Maud, but was just discovering that for the first time, and like really understanding about why she's into rock so much. Like, maybe she just was just plain about accepting Maud's appreciation for rock, but didn't go deeper about it. Just loved her sister the way she was, you know?
I mean,
Yeah,
well, that
that's
still
also
wouldn't
a
explain
very
like.
reasonable explanation, I think.
Well, I mean, that still like wouldn't explain why Pinkie Pie suddenly is asking Maud, like, okay, how many times did you smile like this? Like someone she's probably never seen smile like that in her entire life. I mean,
Smileception.
yeah. If I had to, like, I'm assuming that if you ask the writers, the explanation would be something like Omnis. I did kind of think it was more for necessity of the story, or like the story that these writers kind of wanted to tell, this writer rather, Conflone, and not even like he was actively trying to make it like Pinkie Pie doesn't get Maud. I think it's like more just like he wanted to tell a story about Pinkie.
I do actually have an explanation of that bit. You know, the one that you just mentioned about, you know,
The smile.
The smile bit. Is it possible that Pinkie's perception?
Singing.
Private.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Hey, he said smile.
All right. Take it easy there. We'll get to you.
Anywho, I think another possibility is that Pinkie's perception of Maud is so radically off that when Maud smiles, you know, gently, as we saw in this episode, Pinkie might actually perceive that as being basically the smile that she presented. Like, her perception may be that radically off.
Or more accurate to what's going on internally rather than externally.
Or that.
I
That's
mean,
another.
you see Maud and Pinkie together, it is just, like their comfort level is clearly, well, heck, like most family comfort levels. I mean, they like
It's a little bit too comforting, if you know what I mean.
Let's not
I mean, they slept in the same bed. I'm just saying.
I know it's not.
Surely
it's
this
not
is
that,
what everybody wants to hear about.
Seriously, pass. Like,
I'm just saying.
that's not uncomfortable, man. That's not uncomfortable. Like,
okay, let it go. You know.
yeah.
Let it go. I still hate that song.
All right, so like the last thing I want to put for like my portion of Rock Solid Friendship is something that's kind of a bit of hard for me to admit, but I feel like this episode addresses the problem of an early season 2 episode had that garnered a lot of controversy that I basically ignored because of like my own perception of said episode was more for sympathizing for why Pinkie acted extremely clingy.
I'm guessing a friend indeed.
Yeah. This feels like an actual like this is the actual this is like what you're actually supposed to do about in those types of situations when there's someone clingy like that. I just felt like a friend indeed. Like I just sympathize with Pinkie a bit too much in that, and so like I understand everyone's complaints about it. It's just that like it just didn't offer that sort of solution that everyone else wanted. But Rock Solid Friendship finally delivered on the moral that everyone wanted the show to tackle with Pinkie. And it succeeded with boundaries. It succeeded with it feels like a Philly Vanilli, but in the opposite direction. And like for Fluttershy it was baby steps, but for Pinkie, you gotta keep your distance, girl. You gotta keep your hype down. You just can't let yourself get out of control, you know?
You mean tackle those depression issues, girl, and then jump into a shower? I'm referencing the season, I think it was season 6 or season 5, like little bit. You know how there's that one guy who does like the lessons for each episode? I was referencing that.
Of what show for season 5 and 6?
No, this guy has done it for like all the seasons. He did it for season it's like this raspy like Viking-esque like I don't know who it is on the top of my head.
Wait, is it someone who's actually part of the show, or is it like a YouTuber?
No, it's like a brony. It's like
Okay.
Oh wait. DWK?
Yeah, I think yeah. DWK, I think.
DWK, man.
Yeah, he did season 6. He did season 6 in Equestria in the first Equestria.
Yeah. I was referencing a bit that he did on Pinkie Pie. Joke went over people's heads.
No. It just took a while because you said season 5 and he never did season 5, from my recollection.
Didn't?
He didn't.
I thought he did.
No, he started from season 6, episode 1, and then continued onwards.
Okay, well, while they YouTube search to confirm themselves, fight about that, let's go to Omni Viewer's turn.
Yep.
Well, personally, I have yet to see any bad episodes with Maud Pie in them. Like,
Indeed.
I enjoy any episode with her, pretty much. I will say I'm actually impressed this managed to give us more of an insight into Maud's character without feeling like a retread of that one Friends Forever issue from the comics where Maud teams up with Rarity. Has anyone read that?
No.
I was going to, but then I stopped collecting comics by that point.
I happened to find it recently in a store for $1, so I figured why not. And
Cool. You can actually buy stuff for $1.
well,
I'd buy that for $1.
It was on that rack of stuff that they just couldn't give away, basically. Like it had been on the shelf for so long, they just wanted it out. But anyway, I don't think it deserved to be there because it's actually really good. But that's also, if you read that also gives you a bit more of an insight into Maud's inner workings. Like that, I don't want to give too much away, but we go through the whole story with Maud being her usual monotone, expressionless, deadpan self. And then there's a moment later where we see those same things from her perspective, and we actually see she's feeling very extreme emotions throughout. So, what I'm saying is, I'm impressed that rock solid relationship, rock solid friendship, whatever it's called, didn't just retread that, because sometimes that can happen, intentionally or not, but this was its own thing. So, and of course, it was just good. And as far as Pinkie being annoying, I mean, when the point is for the character to be a nuisance, I mean, yeah, they can do it too well, but when that's the point, that's the point.
That's the point.
Which, I mean,
okay, I found out what... It wasn't DWK, it was Mr. Ponyator. What I learned this time, like the...
Yes.
Share your blessings.
Yes.
Buy our toys revelation. Okay, that didn't well.
With that depression, like, it was... The one I was referencing was the Pinkie Pride one where...
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're talking about like comics that stories have sometimes rehash. I think
Buy comics, there are 9
is one that deserves some credit for not just rehashing his comic. Like, okay, well, it seems like that was killed for me. So, any other thoughts, Omni?
I love doing that.
I guess that's the full extent of my thoughts as far as things that haven't been said.
All right. So,
all right.
Yeah, so I guess you partly agree with the thoughts that have come before.
Hmm. I mean, I
concur with.
Yeah, like I said, I pretty much enjoy any episode with Maud in it, so of course I loved this one.
It's hard to argue with that.
Are you modest?
What?
Come again?
Are you a modest?
No.
You mean like modest, or like someone that makes clothes?
I am not modest. I'm not wearing anything at the moment.
My God, he's naked. Look at him in all that weird ass moon-like shape.
All right, and if we don't get to this guy now, he's
something
probably
told me I knew that you weren't being modest. Something told me.
All right, but yeah, if we
Nobody
don't get to
cares,
this guy
Beth.
now, he's probably gonna break through the screen here. So, everybody, Private Eye.
Yay, me.
Your thoughts
So,
on rock-solid
as-
friendship?
Boo, get off the stage!
Oh, shut up! You're the idiot who said a bunch of bad stuff.
I did?
So anyway, I
What a
love this
criticism.
episode, and I can't really say anything that you jackasses haven't already said.
Um,
But I will say a few details that I am kind of surprised that nobody has actually said, as far as I have seen. First of all, oh my god, a Starlight featuring episode that has no Twilight? What kind of madness is this? So
Good
yeah, I
kind.
kind of like the fact that Twilight was not featured in this episode with Starlight. That was
Yeah,
point one.
because in like season 6, Starlight was
all the
used
time.
for Twilight a lot.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Starlight now feels a little bit more free with this episodes. Also, in the next few episodes, she's in the background. Dear God, finally they found out how to put a goddamn character model in the goddamn background.
Oh
I
my
can
gosh.
finally rest in that detail.
I didn't know how to make Starlight unless she was going to be part of the episode.
My God. So yeah, that's my first point. My second point is I love Maud, but in the sense like she kind of has a Batman-like feel to it. Like you remember the Justice League cartoon, the original one? Like Batman was always serious and never really said anything more than a few phrases that just cracked the hell out of you. Like every time he opened his mouth or just glean at someone in a mean way, he just owned that scene. That's kind of the way I feel Maud. Like this specific kind of character, this, let's call it this kind of Batman character, are very hard to do because you have to make someone that is basically emotionless, but that still has to express some sort of emotion. So yeah, the fact that I just love Maud's sassiness, for example, when make new friends but keep Discord, or when she was introduced, she just had that exact same vibe. To me, it's kind of hard to find a character that is well written like that.
I wouldn't say Batman is emotionless. I'd say he's just always angry.
Yeah, it's sort of like that, but
serious at very least.
Maud is obviously not always angry, but still, they have kind of the same way of how they react to stuff. They don't show a lot of emotions when they
His heart
are
is
happy
made
or
out
when
of
they are
scissors.
mad. Yeah.
Because
So,
he's
yeah.
edgy.
So yeah, and yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I apparently am the only one that has actually done that comparison up until this moment. I even did that in another video. And
Well, be careful when you say you're the only one. You'll then like.
well, the only one that, as far as I have,
A
the only one
brony will
that's-
always come forward and say, "Hey, actually, I did that."
well,
Or
if I
they'll
didn't-
do it, and then they'll say, "Now you're not the only one."
oh my God, I'm not unique in a fandom that has hundreds of thousands of people. I wouldn't have
Be an
even
individual,
guessed.
just like everyone else.
Indeed. Just beat with ponies. But yeah. And my third point, that is the point from which I presented myself, is the fact that I just love every single time Maud just opens her mouth. Like, I just think, oh my God, I now remember she's voiced by Wonder Woman. Like the new Wonder Woman, the DCEU woman, Wonder Woman. And I think, yeah, that's still my favorite character of that goddamn awful movie. And I think, yeah, that's truly the statement of a Wonder Woman. Every time Maud opens her mouth, I just keep on thinking of how I can just make that joke every single time. I think, I don't know, but Jessica Ortiz, who is the Spanish voice for Maud, is not very featured in a lot of stuff, but she's very good as far as I care. She did a very good Wonder Woman, and she does a damn good Maud Pie. So yeah, Fluttershy meets Cyrus West, which is a weird pairing now that I think about it. And I just felt odd the fact that, wow, wait, you mean that you're not going to introduce background ponies? You're going to just use someone you already have that could use a little bit more of character development? Well, I am impressed. Go on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything I can actually say.
Okay. And yeah, for me, this, with the possible exception of All Bottled Up, and it was close, this was my favorite episode when it came out. I won't say what it is now, but or favorite episode of the season, that is. But not favorite episode of all time. That is, I mean, a pretty tall order with.
Well, I
many
don't blame
episodes
you.
are we
I
on
mean,
now?
Hearthswarming Eve is a very hard episode to top. I don't blame you.
I mean,
Weird.
like the first standoff moment.
I mean, I'd say something sarcastic and bitter coming back, but I mean, I like Hearthswarming Eve. That's not a very easy episode to just backhand. But I mean, it's too darn sweet. It's a Christmas episode.
Well,
Yeah.
we shouldn't even call it a Christmas episode. I mean, like, unless we want to go with what season 6 did. That's really
season
a Christmas episode.
Hearthswarming,
Okay.
Tail.
Hearthswarming is both the Christmas and the 4th of July in Equestria. So
I hate that.
Yeah, but anyway, but yeah, the other reason this episode is not my all-time favorite is because I did think it was just good, not great. There's definitely a lot to like here. I'm also a big Maud fan. I actually think they've played her very well in just about all of her episodes. Like, I think just showing us how she ticks, she's kind of suddenly been become that is a more and more comfortable presence each outing, just because of how we kind of grow to understand her a little bit more. And actually, there were a lot of moments I appreciated in Gift of Maud Pie, where it's like Maud, it's kind of deadpans a few heartfelt things, and the two pony, like Rarity and Pinky, because they know her well enough by this point, they're not thrown off at all by that. It's like, okay, she'd probably mean it less. If she put more emotion into it, it'd probably mean that she meant it less. But anyway, so there was that. Pairing her with Starlight was a really good idea. Like, a new character who has also had trouble fitting in sort of similar ways. And okay, why hasn't Maud made friends with her before? Because she's new. That's an easy fit. Maud revealed as the only pony who was going to the Rock Academy was hilarious. Like, we finally see this place after all this time. And
You are congratulations to all of our graduates. Oh, wait, no, I mean to our only graduate that ever has had this academy, and that it will be closed tomorrow because of a lack of students. Now that I think about it, we should have stayed with the mining business instead of searching for rocks. Oh my God, I just realized Sheldon Cooper was right.
Yeah. Oh, and Maud, also the way they played Maud coming out of her shell, like showing us her insecurities a little bit. I really like how they didn't overplay that. Like, Maud's just allowed to set like her speech about rocks, how they don't judge you. Like, she's able to say that, and Starlight said, I guess, I'm starting to like him too.
Oh, and also,
and that's allowed to be it.
Also,
It doesn't have to be a super drawn out moment or anything like that. Less is more sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Boulder with that cap.
Boulder's becoming a more entertaining presence as he goes himself.
My God, the best character in this show, a rock.
It's not just that he had the cap; it's that he was actually chopping wood. Apparently, the evidence is there.
Yeah, that must have been very hard. He didn't even have thumbs.
Wait a minute.
Ponies don't have thumbs. They
Wait a
do
minute.
everything with their mouth.
He's the next
Especially the
Plank.
sexy stuff. I am evil.
Oh, joy. Thanks for that, Nightmare. What were you saying, Unova?
He's the next generation's Plank.
No. No, he's missing the most important part of Plank, dude.
A face?
Yeah.
Hey
Or a
guys,
song about my best friend Plank. Yes, pass.
I'm gonna
That
actually
also
have
would
to
help.
head out.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, you want to give us your quick thoughts on Fluttershy leans in?
Mhm.
I thought it was a decent episode. I liked it. I kind of liked that Fluttershy was willing to, crack some eggs. They weren't doing their job. She fired him. Makes sense.
Hallelujah.
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 Also, the Starlight background bit was nice.
Amen.
But that's all I
Anyway,
get.
Well, have a good night then.
Have a great night, man.
Thanks.
goodbye.
Congrats on
Yeah.
graduating.
Have a great
Thanks.
graduation
Yeah,
party.
that too.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I will.
Oh
All
shit,
right.
he's seriously gone.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. That was kind of the reason why he had to go first. Didn't want him to waste his time,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
now
wasting
a thing
time
of the
is
past.
Yeah, wasting time is like the second or third most required national sport in the Olympics.
Well, on that note, cutting to the chase, what I did think went wrong about this episode was Pinky, and not just that she was annoying, even though I did think that some of her jokes that were supposed to be funny fell flat, but I think like the concept of what she was doing kind of annoyed me, but that being, I think she kind of forced a formula on this episode that, okay, Pinkie Pie is going to keep trying to apply her method to Maud, and the moral is going to be that she's not supposed to. And like even that really great bonding story between Starlight and Maud was kind of trapped in that like they could only get so much time to that we basically were on square one. Like they try things with each other and it works out, they like it. Like it never got more complicated than that because we had to keep doing Pinkie Pie's story.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can concur with your discussion about the whole Pinky trapping the episode into a formula with her antics. Like that, I can't argue. Like, even if people are going to complain about the episode for being annoying, I can defend that part. But the trapping the formula, it restricts the episode from being a great episode to just simply being a pretty good episode in the end.
Although then you have to ask the question, what would the replacement conflict have been?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that there are answers enough for that. Like, heck, I think the story of like Maud and Starlight trying to make this work was interesting enough. Which, I mean, granted, maybe that would have been maybe the writer just like didn't have any particular vision for that. And I mean, don't force what you're not up to. But I mean, yeah, just like I was honestly like kind of dreading every time Pinkie Pie showed up here, with the exception of a few jokes that worked, like her giving Maud the flashback to what she said was pretty funny, for example. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, gee, I think that even if you had to do this, it could have been scaled down a lot more. It just was not necessary.
10% of my ranting during the episode was "Shut up, Pinkie Pie," and I love Pinkie Pie.
I know. Pinkie Pie. I mean, like, I can't even hold it against her this much. Pinkie Pie is kind of like the Mach 5. It's the fastest, best car in the world if you know how to drive it. Or in this case, if you know how to write her.
Oh!
I will also say I like how they went a bit zanier during the conclusion in Ghastly Gorge. The whole like what eel kind of thing.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Although that might almost be as much Maud's comedy as Pinkie's.
It's a combination, I think.
Yeah.
But also, it kind of also gave me a bit of flashbacks in those second Francis actually with Trixie at the end of the episode. Like
it was like having Flash and Batman trying to have a conversation.
Yeah,
it wasn't all that funny. I know. Sorry.
Okay, so
He's got a point though.
Yeah, so overall, like Pinky's annoyingness factor that led to a formula of sorts of like going back and forth between Maud and Starlight just inevitably led the episode to be restricted from going from great and just being good. So
I mean, it's kind of the writer that Nick Confalone is to me. I think like he does not lack for enthusiasm. He's giving you 100%. When he's writing an episode, he's thinking, how can I make this the most awesome, fun thing possible? But I mean, it's like they kind of say that editing is the art of writing, or at least if you go to boring writing classes, they hammer that into you. But yeah, I kind of think that just it's like how his stories end up tying together. It always seems like there's something that's just like a big, stumbling block, or just like a big wall that you have to stop and climb over. Like, even, for example, why Maud leaves, the very last thing we see before she does that, as far as Starlight's concerned, is them ditching Pinky and being happy about it and ending on a good note. And then it's, you know what, I can't make any friends, I have to go to Ghastly Gorge. It's like he skims over. Sometimes he ends up having to skim over these things for the detail he wrote them out in.
I saw that as Maud panicking and basically making excuses.
I like the reaction of Starlight just seeing Pinky leaving. She said, "Wait, Pinky, let me..." Oh, wait, she's gone. Well, back to sleep, I guess.
Incidentally,
I'm pretty sure she can figure it out.
I think I answered the question I brought up earlier of, if you didn't have Pinky forcing the conflict, what would the conflict be? It just popped into my head. They had that whole setup where Maud accidentally helped Starlight enslave that unnamed village. So if someone found out and that became a problem, like, I feel like that could have been an interesting replacement conflict if we were to remove Pinky's part of it.
Oh my god!
I mean, have you ever heard like the saying that not every story needs an antagonist shoved in there? Like,
yeah,
Maud's goal is to make a friend, to like find someone who gets her. I feel like you don't necessarily need Pinkie Pie or, I don't know, some kind of Frankenstein mob as the antagonist necessarily.
they don't
Like, if you have
necessarily
a really good idea for how to use that in a story, go for it. This, I would not qualify as a great. Well, I mean, I already said I thought Pinkie Pie was the weakest part of this very enjoyable episode.
You don't necessarily need a mob. You could just have, like, Maud stays a little while in Ponyville and realizes that everyone's avoiding her. Like, there's always grumblings wherever she goes, and realizes that people have found out and they're kind of holding her responsible for it. Now starting to blame her for what Starlight did as an accomplice or whatnot, and having her start to think, well, maybe I really can't stay here because nobody likes me, and have Starlight go, well, I like you, isn't that enough?
Dude, we can't do that. This is Ponyville, not the Equestria Girls world.
No. I was getting actually flashbacks to Persona 5, actually, like, oh, the new person that's trying to move into the town, but everyone hates you for what you did.
Yeah, screw you for whatever the hell
would be
you
like
did.
they've forgiven Starlight, but not Maud. Like,
you're the only one to blame.
No,
Well, it would be that way because, like, it's the sort of thing of where people. It's sort of like when you blame the people who developed the atomic bomb rather than the people who dropped it at the end of World War II. Kind of.
or would that analogy work better with the people who decide to launch the atomic bomb than the people who create it?
What?
It's kind of fun, like.
But I'm saying it would need some development, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
I literally
caught myself realizing I was about to start talking the politics of the atomic bomb, so maybe that's.
Wow!
Damn,
we're
you
getting
Oppenheimer.
nuclear up in here. We're getting nuclear, people. Come on.
But is that a good time to move on to Fluttershy leans in?
Sure.
Absolutely.
No.
Let's move
Before
on
we
over.
drop the bomb.
But anyway,
right,
let's move on to simpler pastures with Gian Barrow here. And her writing style is shown quite apparent, since her only other writing credit for the show is the Pinkie Pie's being quiet
the
about
one where Pinkie Pie knows.
Yeah, the one where Pinkie Pie knows. Like, this episode is somewhat simplistic compared to like the last major Fluttershy episode we had last season, that being Flutterbrother. But it still carries the same themes of maturity Fluttershy has developed throughout the past 6 seasons for this season. And it shows that it's not just family matters she's very much stepped up upon. But also when it comes to revealing a dream she's had for apparently a long time now, but only now decided to share it, which honestly I feel like it's not actually like a plot device, but it actually feels somewhat in line with like how she's really coming out of her shell now, even expressing her dreams to other people. Like that was one of the big complaints people had in the show in the earlier season, in which like Pinkie and Fluttershy were the ones, including Applejack, that didn't really have like a goal set in mind like Rarity, Rainbow Dash, or Twilight did.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's kind of funny, really, because Fluttershy at this point is literally the most developed character out of the entire cast.
yeah,
possibly. Although you could argue that others have gained ground on her, like in past seasons. Like, I mean.
No, but
probably,
you can actually see the gradually changing throughout the seasons. Unlike almost everyone else that do have goals, of course, but they don't really have a personality that needs a change throughout, through time. It's obvious that Fluttershy has had a time. She's not the same that in season 2 or season 3, season 4, etc. She's not the same character.
I mean, like,
she changed. Weird.
I feel like in season 5 was like the stepping stones for like that change, in which she started to experiment with things that were very terrifying with her, with like Nightmare Nights. And then like when we reached season 6, it really was like season 5 was like baby steps. And now we reached like the culmination in which she was dealing with a family problem. And now we're going into like her personal goal, like from what we see this episode, in which building an animal sanctuary, and then like trying to ask her friends for advice about it, and then listening to their advice at first, but then seeing as those experts that that Pinkie Pie, Rarity, and I think Rainbow Dash, Applejack. Dang it! Why did I forget about her?
Also, as an architect, and yes, I am an architect actually, I feel kind of offended by both sides.
Oh, do tell, Private.
No, I need my turn to actually say that.
Alrighty then.
Saving up.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. But I felt like it was very simplistic, like how the issue was went to, like, even though it was a bit surprising, but we've seen Fluttershy act this way from last season. So her dismissing like the assistants when they proved to be very stubborn in their ways of like, oh, we know what's best, even though it's your project after all, Fluttershy, like that arrogance and such for like people trying to step into your goal and just putting their touches into it without your consideration. Yeah, that's kind of like a point of like a contention for project creators that really can be applied to anyone in this given age, even to us reviewers. Like if there's someone that's really to go off the handle for their own desires and such for a group project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But aside from that, the way that the episode ended with a very much surprising cameo of Paul McCult. Yeah, no one ever saw that coming. No.
I mean, of all ponies, yeah, I was not expecting him.
Like, seriously, it's like season 7 just stepped up season 6 and was like, oh, remember that character from season 5 and that incidental episode in which we were probably never going to revisit ever again? Guess what? Season 7 just went up to season 6. We brought back one of those characters. And we actually made him have a very good point in being an expert on architecture, because that was one of the expertise he was shown.
You thought it was over with season 6, but you were wrong, because it was Dio. And yes, that was a motherfucking JoJo's reference.
You needed a bit more oomph into that performance in order for it to really show, you know?
True.
Yeah.
But I will say though, that aside, the point we've been circling here, I feel like season 7 is doing a fantastic job making use of that, playing off of what has already been established and making use of it and calling back to it and using it to sort of fill out different plot points. I mean, it feels like that they're that things are progressing again, like there's something to be invested in. I feel like that's something that a lot of us missed from season 6, where it was just like, okay, what sort of new ideas can we pull out? And
I mean, like in season 6, we did have like a bit about the Griffins, a bit about the Dragon Empire, and a bit about the Changeling Empire, but it wasn't really like a flowing connection between all those plot points. It was just happenings, really.
yeah, season 6. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It just felt, even though those things would have been exciting. Here's the thing: those events would have been a lot more well received if there was an actual point to them, like in some sort of like plot or background plot for like this season. But season 6 and even season 5 to a point was very poor in that aspect. Like it just wasn't going anywhere. Like they just thought like the map would have been enough of like a seasonal plot, and also Starlight Glimmers as a student for Twilight would have been enough. But no, they just did nothing with it. Which season 7, it's actually feels like it's the knit that keeps the entire series together at this point. And I'm so happy, even if it's not bringing out spectacular episodes like, oh, I want season 7 to be like full of the greats. But this season feels more happy to me. It feels more energized, like Nick Confalone here, like from the previous episode. But for more of the episodes, it feels like everything's like coming together. Like the Equestria is becoming a big community all of a sudden, and not just pockets of like cities with like blank stares of like wasteland all around them. And we only go to like these populated cities when either the map calls for us or when we have to help Rarity and such.
Or it's kind of more for like fan service, or like to
Fan service,
show off a new place, not really like build on the concepts in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Per se.
So yeah, well, this episode doesn't really have much to say on its own contents. The meaning and the showing of like a Fluttershy, and also how her friends react to her idea, and how they eventually make an animal sanctuary, while also providing a little bit of showing of one of the characters that was shown previously, like in Secret of My Success for their first appearance, Dr. Flemix.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Actually, no, it's Dr. Fawn. I keep on mistaking her catchphrase with her actual name, because you don't associate her with Fauna more as you associate her with that one vocabulary that she keeps bringing up that is a very good teaching material for little kids. Just saying.
I didn't remember her at all. I don't know what you're on.
Yeah, I don't remember her neither. Either.
Okay.
Whatever.
The yellow.
All right, I'll stop being a schmuck now. But,
we're not the schmuck squad here, man.
Or are we?
Get the 7 deadly sins on the line. We're going in.
all right. So, any other points to make about Fluttershy leans in?
From Unova or from anyone?
Yeah, from Unova. I'm sorry. Yeah, Unova. Was there anything more you wanted to add on your turn?
Let's see. Well, the fact that we had a non-speaking Starlight role in the episode in which she actually contributed to something, like in comparison to what season 6 gave for us in Spice Up Your Life, yeah, that's definitely a major plus compared to season 6. So, yeah, I'm just going to continue the past train of essentially bashing season 6 until we're blue, because, yeah, you almost made me give up on the show, season 6, even though you had some of the best Spike episodes. That's unforgivable, man.
It is always unforgivable.
Gosh. All right. I mean, I'll always be grateful that season 6 gave me Stranger Than fan fiction, but actually, why don't we just cut it off at that?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
moving on.
Omni.
Well, I lived this episode.
Oh.
Like I have actually I didn't get the same results actually though, because I mentioned it in the video, but for people who haven't seen it, I directed a play a couple summers ago that was one of 3 plays that was part of a touring company, and it was my first time directing. I had a 1-act, 1-scene play and 3 actors for it. And it was the first week of rehearsal was going very well. I mean, I was working with my actors. We had a good rapport going. The timing was great. It was all coming together nicely. I knew obviously that after only the first week it wasn't perfect, but I was glad with where it was going. But then I had to leave for the second week, and we knew this was going to happen in advance because I had to attend a friend's wedding, and he was halfway across the country, so I had to go out there, and it would have taken a while anyway. When I got back, the show was completely and utterly changed because the artistic director, the guy who ran the company and who was directing one of his own shows, I had his word that even though I asked him to keep an eye on how the rehearsal was going, he would not do anything to change it. That he would just be there to observe and make sure they were staying on task. I know for a fact that he did something because I came back to a show that could not possibly have been the logical progression of where we were going when I left. And I couldn't, and unfortunately, there was only 1 more week of rehearsals to go, so I couldn't change it back. And even if I had wanted to, the guy was just the sort of person who was going to dig in his heels. In fact, I did try calling him out on it, and he responded in such a way that made me feel guilty for accusing him of something he swore he didn't do. And at the time, I was still kind of a pushover who didn't want to stir any pots, so I basically had no choice but to let the show get away from me. And so when I saw this episode, I basically felt like I wish I had done that. I don't think I could have actually somehow turned the show back around, but if there was some way I could have basically made it known that I was ticked off royally, like I would have taken the scripts for the other shows that I was in, that like the one that he was directing. I would have thrown them at his feet, told him a creative place he could keep them, and I would have stormed out. I wouldn't have even cared if it ruined the tour for everyone else because I'd been betrayed.
Okay.
So basically what you're saying is he could go on and screw himself.
Yeah, I've been sitting on this for a while, so.
Well, sometimes you do get that episode that hits that, resonant point.
Yeah, so when people say like I've encountered a couple of people who say they don't get this episode, they think it was too one-sided and whatnot, and all I can say is I know for a fact this happens. So yeah, it's one-sided, but sometimes that is the way it goes. So
yeah,
can't deny what actually has happened to me.
Seriously. Wait, so you weren't in a position
You
of
want to touch
authority?
on a point that personal. But go ahead.
Yeah. What?
So you weren't in a position of authority at that time?
No, I've been given the task of directing this show. I'm still not entirely sure why. I think it was to keep me around. But if I had tried, this guy was, I'll just come right out and say it. He was a classically abusive person.
Oh God.
And
like certain guy slash whatever we don't talk about, or less than that.
I'm not sure exact. Well, kind of. It's
complicated.
yeah. The simplest way to put it is classically abusive. Usually acts nice to draw you in first, but if you cross him, he will hurt you and make you think you deserved it. So
yeah, I've seen those.
Kind of Gladmane-ish.
yeah.
Fuck them.
So basically, I did try calling him out. I didn't want to make a public scene of it, so I wrote to him and I said, "You did this. I cannot believe that you did this. I am angry." I mean, I was more articulate than that, but those were the basic points. Yeah. And he responded in a way that made me think, "Oh dear, I'm just trying to cause trouble. Why am I trying to be such a person and ruin everything for everyone else?" And yet still deep down I knew, wait a minute, that son of a, he still, yeah. So I basically forced myself to roll over and let him walk all over me. But if I could do it over again, I just say, you know what, with all due respect, up yours and leave. So
Hey,
that got heavy.
not what you were, but how far you've come.
Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Nice. Anything else?
Well, it was a good episode. I mean, yeah, straightforward and yeah, one-sided, like people have said, but at the same time, that's the way it goes sometimes. Somebody will do everything in their power to screw you over and then be petty about it, and you should stand up for yourself when that happens. That's something you need to know. Those are my thoughts, basically.
All right, and that takes us to private.
But sorry, I was never mind. So Fluttershy leans in. I completely forgot about this episode. Oh wait, no, I didn't really forget about it. And more like in the sense of, wait, why are we doing this? That's kind of what I had thought about throughout most of the episode. I thought, wait, Fluttershy, why did you say that? That was so obviously gonna backfire. Wait, why didn't the doctor just let them go? She's a fucking vet. She should know how to treat animals and let them go.
I think the implication was that...
Wait, how are they gonna, cure themselves in the wild? How is that different from, letting them be in the forest? Like, I do realize they need time to recover, but obviously some of those animals were already recovered. You digs.
And now they had a nice place to stay where all of their cares were met.
Yeah, the animals from Sidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose, if anyone's ever read that particular Dr. Seuss story.
Yeah, it's almost as if crossing the goddamn street was the forest they live in. I was just thinking all those things. I'll say I do love the way Fluttershy is represented in this episode, because it is pretty cool to see her just going, just having her, development just show up more and more inside of in the show, and that's pretty cool. But as an architect, I feel offended by both parties, in the sense of, yeah, let's just build the thing she specifically said not to build. Like, I'm gonna reveal you guys something, and that is in the terms of, let's just call it architectural design, and it is, the client is always right, except when he isn't. And Fluttershy was not wrong. She was right in her idea, and while she didn't really explain it all that well, she was still trying to make it the best, and saying she did not want it to build a goddamn hospital. Now, on Fluttershy's side, as the client, she was not specific and decided screw you, I'm gonna do this myself. I mean, it's not like so many people were studying for 5 years trying to fucking pass the goddamn exams.
All right,
To
let's
make
keep
the
it
best of all.
PG-13 here. You're allowed one F-bomb.
We passed that a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
well,
dude.
I'm going
Well,
to do the Men in
okay,
Black
so
thing and force everyone to
yeah,
forget
I
that.
mean, I do like the fact that they try to, build something, even though that kind of goes against the thing they did in the comic. But whatever, we don't speak about that, at least not really. But it just made me think, yeah, that doesn't happen. That would never ever happen. That pony dude just gives us architects and to a lesser extent engineers, but they can go on and screw themselves. No, I'm just kidding. It's just that stupid ass rivalry architects and engineers sometimes have. And it just gives us both a terrible name because nobody, and I do mean no one in this business would do that. It just make me feel I want to punch you, dude. I don't know why, but I want to punch you. And after that, there's pretty much nothing I can actually say. The doctor was nice, though it felt more like she was how to say it, a discount Fluttershy from past seasons because she was not saying anything to the goddamn animals that were literally abusing from her home. But after that, oh, and the little starlight is in the background thing. I love that part. After that, yes,
I don't want to interrupt. I just finish your thought.
I already did.
Okay. Well, as far as like Fluttershy being vague in her instructions, I've thought about that, and like sometimes I think the greater extent of the message can get lost because people focus on the specifics of the careers involved as opposed to like the grander picture of I tell you to do this, you do that. But I've been thinking about it and I'm reminded, well, first of all, you bring in the characters who are experts. They're not just people who do this stuff, they are experts. So they're a cut above everyone else. And if anyone would know how to take a vague description of what someone wants and make it work, it would be an expert, you would think. So my feeling is that they really didn't have any excuse to fall back on the stuff they already knew if they truly were experts.
Oh no, the problem with saying those experts is that they were experts, sure, but in their own field. The detail of their expertise that was missing was handling wild animals.
But
you could say that Applejack's cousin, whatever thing she was, could thus count as handling animals, but that's farm animals. She was thinking about going on with farm animals. The guy from the curtains, whose name I already forgot, was thinking about this as not something to be outside in the wildlife, but rather something more natural, like a normal house with windows. And the construction ponies dudes were thinking of this as more of a hospital because that's what they know what to do. They're experts on doing hospitals, not sanctuaries.
But that brings me to an actual real life example.
Okay.
Has anyone here seen the behind the scenes special on the Jurassic Park DVD?
No.
Well, I'm assuming you've seen Jurassic Park.
Oh,
yes.
Well, there's that one shot during the Gallimimus stampede where it's a moving shot. You have Grant and the kids running and they're surrounded by the Gallimimus and the camera is moving and jostling around.
Yeah.
Well, when Steven Spielberg shot that, he basically went to the ILM crew and said, now I want this tracking shot to have all the CGI dinosaurs everywhere in it. Has that ever been done before? And the ILM crew actually said, no. Generally, you don't have CGI characters moving in tracking shots because that it can be done, but it takes a lot of time to really actually make it look right. It's hard enough to make animated characters look like they're walking when the background is static. So Spielberg said, well, can you guys do it? He doesn't really know special effects himself. He doesn't know how to do all the CGI stuff. Otherwise, he wouldn't need the ILM people. And the ILM people basically said, yes, we can do it. Probably. It will probably take a while. And I actually think they had to come up with a specific new way to do it to make sure it actually looked like the Gallimimuses were both surrounding everyone and actually landing on the ground as opposed to just floating above it. But because they were the crack team of experts, basically, they took that vague command of, I want this, do it, and they did it. And basically Jurassic Park changed cinema. It's one of those movies that changed everything in cinema. So,
yeah, and they didn't say like, okay, it's cool that he wants this, but we're like, he's clearly being, I don't know, vain, so let's shortcut around it. Like,
exactly,
there's such a thing as people who do that. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I kind of saw the Fluttershy thing as like, okay, you don't have to be perfect to put your foot down or your hoof down on your own darn project. But as long as you're, if somebody's just refusing to work with you, or then okay, you're allowed to say, I don't need you.
Yeah, and if they had actually been willing to work with her, if they came across something that they basically said, this cannot be done, and they come to her about it, and she probably is the sort of boss, for all intents and purposes, who would say, okay, let's find a way to work around it, and they would have found something that would have satisfied everyone. It could be done, and she would like it. But instead, they go behind her back. So, yeah, that insubordination right there.
Going behind their backs could work, but you're forgetting that Spielberg is Spielberg, and he was trying to do something that nobody else has ever done.
Yeah.
It was just Fluttershy. And while I am not going to assume that this was the first time they ever did this, this was the first time she did this. Wait, I lost my idea. Anyway, the point is that Spielberg was a perfectionist in a lot of ways, and he wanted things done specifically, and he had the energy, and he went on and said, yeah, let's do it. And probably kept on going and said, did you did it already? They show him. He said, no, you did it wrong. We'll do it this way. And then they redid it again, because that's kind of how this thing go.
There's such a thing as thinking that your boss's idea or your employer's idea is stupid or whatever, and you're just gonna do it the phoned in way, or the way that you know is better, and just collect your check. But if you're gonna go that route, don't be surprised if you get fired, because there's no rule that says whoever's asking you to do this has to like your way.
Yeah.
And Spielberg has had to deal with effects that couldn't be done before. Look at the behind the scenes of Jaws. The shark never worked, and that's the real reason you see so little of the shark. But that was something where they had to take something that genuinely wasn't working and work around it. So
anyway,
what other thoughts, Private?
What? No, I already finished a long time ago.
Okay. Well, I guess that leaves me, and actually, for the most part, like watching this, I thought it was kind of meandering. Like it was not drawing me in. Okay, bunny parkour injuries, so the veterinarian has too many animals staying with her. So Fluttershy has always wanted to build an animal sanctuary, so the ponies know these colorful personalities that they should bring in. So miscommunication, that I guess the lesson's going to be how to do proper communication. Oh wait, no. For a lot of it I was not that invested, but like when it made its goal known, like when they, instead of going the route of bringing back the experts and having them say, like, okay, maybe we should have listened to you, or okay, maybe I should have explained it like this. They just straight up said, like, okay, no, it's okay to tell someone you're not what I'm looking for if they're not, like, or it's okay to stand up for your vision, or to, I mean, you don't need to do your own project somebody else's way because they liked it better that way. It's at the end of the day, it is your project, and yeah, like that Fluttershy is able to take that stand now because of how far she's come and like all the lessons we've seen her learning over time. Yep, slowly but surely. I mean, like that was a genuinely good feeling, and I mean, okay. The episode definitely jumped a rank by when I saw that part, but I mean, it's still not like, yeah, I still, I guess, don't consider it that good, just like, or like not fantastic anyway, because I mean, like, well, I feel like a great episode would be something that was able to draw you in the whole time and make you really interested in where it was going, and then culminate with that perfect ending instead of like feel like it was meandering and feeling like you're not that interested and culminating with that great ending. So.
I can see that. Although the way you described the meandering plot almost felt like an episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what happens.
A lot of the time, although The Simpsons
or
is
old
like,
Simpsons?
The Simpsons never really stopped using that formula. It's just whether or not it was still funny throughout.
And that's what I'm saying.
Well, The Simpsons at its best, though, like, well, I mean, like, and heck, this episode, like, this show has not felt like it was sticking to some tightly square-cut plot and such. And I mean, great, the best episodes have made that feel sort of natural, feel like they use that to give you a really good sense of what kind of characters we're dealing with, and how this, I don't know, this plot point we started out with has grown into this bigger thing that it ends up as. But yeah, in this case, I didn't feel like it was, to any particular purpose. I didn't feel like it was, hitting us with some really strong comedy. I didn't feel like, it was, but like, it seemed just kind of disjointed more than anything was the effect I got. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's one of those things that's going to be at least a little subjective. So
yeah,
I don't know. Some people though, some of the people I've talked to have actually said they consider this possibly the best Fluttershy episode, like the pinnacle point of her development, and having seen like my favorite Fluttershy episodes that started right at where the last episode left her, and the whole time built her conflict and her character in a way that really had me in her corner the whole time. Yeah, that's not something I can really understand or concur with, but that is interesting though, and that does bring up that at very least you could see this episode as kind of the final step in Fluttershy's arc as far as that's concerned. Like if they wanted it to be, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like, is there anyone here that agrees with that on some level of this being some kind of like,
Well, it could be the final step as far in the same way that Rarity opening her shop in Canterlot was the final step, in which case it wasn't actually.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's more what I'd say, but I don't know. Nobody else is saying that, okay, this is like an out-of-the-park home run Fluttershy episode.
No, I honestly feel like this episode was a very mid-tier to good episode. It's not like the best Fluttershy episode, and I wouldn't say it's the end of her development, because there's definitely a lot more you could do with Fluttershy here. Like I say, in comparison, like how Rarity's been treated with like our boutique in Manhattan and such, and Canterlot as well. But I feel like the most standoffish Fluttershy episodes will have to be in season 2 with Hurricane Fluttershy, season 6 with Flutter Brother, and lastly with season 4 with Philly Vanilli.
The one she had to endure the most conflict in.
Well, it's kind of like a spectrum of like season 2 with Hurricane Fluttershy is seeing like the extremely timid Fluttershy going with like a trying to actually do the thing that Pegasi are known to do with like helping to support one another with like the water, with like fixing up the water for like the Cloud Sail factory. Then with season 4, it's Fluttershy trying to get into a passion that she really likes to indulge herself privately, but doesn't want to show herself into the spotlight because of her stage fright and such. Meanwhile, season 6 is a perfect showing of her dealing with like family issues, with like all the growth and development she has gone through in the past 5 seasons before that point.
Mm-hmm.
All of them feel very standoff moments, but I feel like this episode here feels very much like the season 5 episode during which Fluttershy is dealing with like Nightmare Night. It feels like in that same range.
Yeah.
Well, considering this one hit so close to home for me, I'd say it's higher end. I don't know if it's the best, but I definitely feel like it's like my perspective may be warping it a bit. But still.
Ooh, distortion.
Actually, come to think of it, Fluttershy episodes have I felt like struck a chord to me on some level or another, but like I think even this one to some extent as well. But I mean, yeah, I think like if I had to pick a favorite out of Fluttershy's lineup, I would pick something for, like maybe Philly Vanilli or something like that. Actually, it's kind of funny. I always good.
I was just saying, the controversial one.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I'd be happy to talk.
That's the thing with second.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have my own spin on the controversy there, but maybe another time. Like, in the meantime, as is with Fluttershy episodes, like, it's kind of funny. They always seemed like they should come across as just like knockouts to me. That, yeah, all the ingredients were there. This character who was like a major underdog and had a lot of legitimate problems that you do see, and his premise is willing to take advantage of it. But I mean, I don't know, for whatever reason, so many of her, like, it wasn't until kind of the later episodes that, season 4, and even to some extent Keep Calm and Flutter On, where I felt like they started to come across as the knockouts, the heartfelt knockouts that are episodes. Felt like they always should have been, but never quite were to me. Never quite were. They were still pretty good.
Yay.
No. Did you just say yay?
No, dije viva. I know you can't understand me, but... So anyway.
Other thoughts?
No.
Or we wrap it up here?
You want to wrap it up here? How much time have we been discussing? Or are you guys have been talking? I've been very silent for some reason.
Well, I think we've been here for
almost an hour and a half.
Oh, really?
Almost an hour and a half, yeah. So, like I was saying, if anyone has any final thoughts...
Wonder Woman. Dun, dun,
How about what kind of job do you think Joanne Lewis and Christine Sonko are doing as our new story editors?
Okay.
I don't know who those are.
Okay, those are the story editors for this season. Last one was Josh Haber with season 5 and 6.
I see.
Joanna Lewis and Christine Sonko are the writers of like Castle Sweet Castle, Rarity Investigates, Hooffields and the Colts, the 2 premiere episodes this season, Top Bolt. What else?
That explains why this slice of life has been so prominent so far.
Yeah, I think like after some mundane epic pieces, like they don't. I shouldn't say epic. I say mundane action pieces that they tried. It feels like the slice of life is extremely strong here. Like they're giving like the time of day for it. And
I mean, any day of the week, I'd take solid slice of life over weak action and adventure.
Yeah, we do.
I'm
I
just
mean,
trying to
isn't that kind of the point of the show?
I'm just trying to imagine what mundane epic would be. That be like playing orchestral Wagnerian music while shopping for groceries, or would that be like being really bored while throwing the ring into Mount Doom?
Have you ever seen the pilot of Welcome to Entingville?
Welcome to what?
Eltingville, something like that. Have you ever seen that pilot?
I don't believe. I'm not
Google
sure.
Google it. There is your definition for normal epic.
Okay.
Mundane epic. I know I have an answer for that. It'd
Whatever.
be the crystallite.
Yes.
Celestia and Luna are blasting storm clouds. Feel the awesome.
Yes, feel it.
Yay! 5 seconds of the boo.
Hey, there are some pretty epic power metal songs about snow.
And I'd rather listen to
5
those.
seconds.
Yeah, like
All right.
seriously, I think we blew it out of proportion when that premiere came out. Like Celestia and Luna are actually doing something.
Oh, don't worry, man. I've heard that some titles are actually foreshadowing an encounter for an episode about sisters, or something stupid like that.
Eh.
How about that? Well, they did say
seriously,
something about a
if there is-
Celestia episode.
but
I must have celestial advice.
Seriously though, if there is a Celestian Luna episode later on, I want for that to be that.
If that's the case, then Christine and Sanko, Christine
Joe. That's what they go
Kristen Joe, thank you. Second, I was going to die in the spotlight. But Kristen Joe, they will immediately become my favorite editors, surpassing Megan McCarthy. Just saying.
My God.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I feel like they won't have to do much to pass Josh Haber, as much as I think he's a little bit of an underrated writer, but that aside. Oh, also, Sweetie Bloom is totally right in that chat box. Equestria's veterinary field is a mess.
Yeah.
All right, so we all ready to sign out now?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody go around and say your goodbyes.
Well, this is Unova Brony, and I'm saying curtain call, we are exiting.
Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni viewers saying, hands off, Maud, she's mine. What? Who said that? Good night.
You guys are so weird. So anyway, thank you for having me yet again out of surprise and literally on the last minute. I mean, you're the best planner ever, Second. My name is Private Eye, and as usual, don't you dare to forget about me.
But we'll only remember you from the one you didn't show up in.
Indeed.
Right. That was the best planner ever. I would have found a way to stop him from showing up to this one too.
Screw you.
And on that note, from a critic first and a fan second, here's looking forward to the episode tomorrow, and happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Yay!
Whether you're a mother or not.
Actually, Mother's Day for me is literally on Monday. And it's also our Independence Day.
Wow.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
And good
I
night,
know.
everybody.
Or yeah.